Welcome to our class on metric space. So we want to consider further examples of metric space. We have considered metric space and some examples, and we've also considered Oda's and Minkowski's inequality. Now we want to consider further examples on it. This is another metric space, and this metric space, this is another metric. This metric is called a usual metric on R square. That is Euclidean space. This is R square. R square simply means R by R, like this. Now, another one, this is another one, this is another metric space. This is another metric. If we have D to be a metric on X, and this E, which is depending on this D, is also a metric. So this is another metric. So this is Euclidean metric on R squared. So we have many examples like that. So this is another metric. So this is another metric. So it's down. This one is Euclidean metric on Rn. This is Rn. And then this is a usual metric on Rn. This is another metric. This is another metric. This is another metric as well. So this is another metric. And this is another one. So you can write them down. Now, our aim now is we want to prove one of these. So we have proved something like this before. So let us prove this Euclidean metric that is indeed a metric on Rn. So let us prove it. So this is a metric here. We want to prove it. The first one, we need to prove the non-negativity issue. That is, you observe that xi minus yi is inside an absolute value. An absolute value will always be positive. So in that case, we can say that since absolute value of si minus yi is greater than or equal to 0, definitely s bar minus y bar will be greater than or equal to 0. So property 1 is satisfied. Another one, the second one is we are going to show that this thing is 0 if and only if s is y. That is, d of s bar comma y bar is equal to 0 if s bar is equal to y bar. Also, we are going to show that if s bar is equal to y bar, d of s bar comma y bar is 0. Now, if d of s y comma y bar is 0, definitely this thing is 0. Definitely summation I runs from 1 to n. So this will now implies that s bar minus y bar is 0. Si minus y high is 0. Then this will now be si is equal to y high. And this si is equal to y high simply means that s1 is equal to y1, s2 is equal to y2, up to sn is equal to yn, which we can write as s1 comma s2 up to sn is equal to y1 comma y2 up to yn. So this thing simply means s bar. As we have given before, this one simply means y bar. So we have shown that s bar is equal to y bar. Also, or conversely, so we need to show that if s bar is equal to y bar, then d of s comma this must be 0. And it's very easy to show. So we start from this to this place, to this place, to this place. So in that case, I can see that s bar is equal to y bar implies s1 comma y1 comma s2 up to sn is equal to y1, y2 up to yn, which simply means s1 is equal to y1, s2 is equal to y2, s3 is equal to y3. And this simply means that si is equal to y high, which is same thing as si minus y high is equal to 0. So I will just follow what I have written again. So if I put absolute value of both sides, this will be si minus yi is equal to 0. So when we put summation there, so the summation, this implies that if you put summation on both sides, summation of 0 will be 0. So in that case, this one too is 0. So the second property is satisfied. So let's move to the third property. For the third one, we know that d of sy bar y bar is given as this. Now, this thing can still be written as this. So what I've just done is I've changed this y bar and y1 and s1, so which is still possible for us to do. And this thing simply means y bar comma s bar. So we have shown the symmetric property. So finally is the triangular inequality, which is where we have a work to do there. So triangular inequality is not as well. If you pick z bar in Rn, so if you follow this definition here, you are going to have si minus zi raised to power p or raised to power 1 over p. This thing simply means si this si minus y high. So just like we did under the proof of usual metric, this is raised to power p or raised to power 1 over p. So I've just included this, which is the same thing as what I've written on board here. So in order to turn this thing to triangular inequality, we need to now apply the Minkowski's inequality. This is the Minkowski's inequality, which says a high plus b high will be this. You can see the same thing here. This is represent, everything here is representing my a high, and this is representing my b high. So by Minkowski's inequality, it says I can, so we put it there that by Minkowski's inequality, I can write it as summation I runs from n si minus y high raised to power p or raised to power 1 over p plus summation I runs from 1 to n y high minus zi raised to power p or raised to power 1 over p, as we can see it here. So this is a raised to power p raised to power 1 over p. So our a is representing this. So this thing is possible because of Minkowski's inequality. Assuming we don't have the Minkowski's inequality, this thing that we apply here will not be possible. So in this case, this and this one will be s d of s bar comma y bar, while this one will be d of y bar comma z bar. So what we have shown is that d of s bar comma z bar is less than or equal to d of this plus d of this. So we have proved the fourth property. So hence d is symmetric on Rn. So we have shown that Euclidean metric is indeed a metric. So we can now practice all this. We show that they are indeed metric on Rn. We have shown them before. So let's move to another important one. So another important one is this distance between two sets in a metric space. Let this S comma D be a metric space and let A and B be subsets of S. Then the distance between A and B is defined as this infimum of D into bracket A comma B. And you know what this D means? A metric, a distance. So the infimum of it, infimum, you know, by definition of infimum, that is the greatest lower bound. So is the infimum of this where A is taken in capital A in set A, while this small b is taken in set B, which can also be written as this infimum of D of A comma B for every for every A belongs to A and B belongs to B. So this definition leads us to this distance between a set and a point. We say that let S be a metric space and let A be a subset of S. And if you pick any point in S, this point S, if you pick it in this metric space S, the distance from that S, the distance of this S from this A, or we consider the distance between them is defined as this D of S comma A, which is same thing as this. So anytime we are having a set and want to find the distance between them, so it's better we put an infimum there. So this leads us to the following theorem. So this is the theorem here. Let S comma D be a metric space and let this A be a subset of S. Then for every S comma Y belongs to S, distance of this comma A and this is less than absolute value of it is less than or equal to distance of S comma Y. So it's very easy to do. So let's prove it. Now let us pick an element in this A. Let's pick, just like we pick an element in A here. Let's pick an element in A there. Okay, let me take it to another page here. You know, we have picked an element in A here. Now we know that distance of by triangular inequality, we know that if you have distance of S comma A will be less than or equal to D of S comma Y plus D of Y comma A. So what we do now is that we are going to put infimum to both sides. So infimum of A belongs to A, D of S comma A. So let's put infimum to both sides so that we get this. From that place, by definition of distance between point and this, you will see that this thing simply means D of S comma capital letter A. So this is independent of A. So the infimum is still the value. So it's still D of S comma Y, but this one should be D of Y comma big A by definition. So if you collect the like terms, we have D of S comma A minus this is less than this. When we collect the like terms here, now let's call this equation 1. Similarly, I have treated Y comma A. Let me consider D of S comma A. Let me consider D of Y comma A. So this is D of Y comma X plus D of S comma A. So as usual, let's put infimum to both sides so that we get this is and all those. So this is what we are going to get. I'll put infimum to both sides. So this one should be D of Y comma A is less than, this is independent of A, so it's still our D of S comma Y. You can see that we put D of Y comma S before, so it's same thing because D is a metric, so we can interchange it like that. So this one is distance of S comma big A because of the infimum that is there. So from that place, we are going to have D of Y comma A, Y comma A when we collect the like terms minus D of S comma A will be less than or equal to D of S comma Y, which we can write as If I multiply both sides by minus, this will be minus d of s comma y. If I multiply both sides by minus, will be less than d of s comma a minus d of y comma a. So I'll call this equation 2, because if I multiply both sides, the sign will change. Remember, this one is greater than this before, but now it is now less than because of the negative, and the negative sign has made this one to come first. Now if I combine these two together, you will see that minus d is less than this, and this one is less than this. So let's combine it. We are going to have this when we combine it. Now we know that if you have absolute value of z is less than k, this simply means minus k is less than z is less than k. Here is representing k, here is representing k, here is representing z. So this simply means absolute value of d of s comma a minus this is less than or equal to d of s comma y. So which completes the proof. So that is what we are asked to prove. So that's what we are asked to prove. So let's move to another interesting one. Another interesting one is diameter of a set. We define diameter of a set as this. Let S be a metric space and let A be a subset of S. The diameter of A is denoted and defined as this delta of A, which is diameter of A, is the supremum of distance between A and B. That is, A and B are elements of A. So that is the definition of diameter. So from this definition, we have the following. So number one, we say that diameter of phi, we say that is negative infinity. We know phi is an empty set. So if you have diameter of A comma phi, so this is infinity. That is diameter of A comma phi. If you have diameter of capital A is an element. If you now have it as a set, comma phi is still infinity because phi is an empty set. Also, if you now have ordinary point at all, let's say diameter of ordinary point S, we should know that this one is 0. There will be no diameter because diameter involves 2 points. Also, if you have diameter of okay, we don't need it again. So this is what we need. So that is that about diameter of a point. So this diameter will now lead us to another interesting definition in metric space, which we call bounded set. So we define bounded set in terms of metric as follows. Let A be a metric space, and let this be a metric space, and let this A be a subset of S. We say that A is bounded if its diameter is finite. So what that means is that if find the diameter of a set and it's less than infinity, means it's bounded. So that simply means that the set is bounded. If it is less than infinity, we say that this set A is bounded. So let's consider the following theorem. We'll consider the following theorems. We say that the union of two bounded sets is bounded. So let's prove it. Now, our aim is to show that if A and B are bounded, that is, if delta A is less than this and this is less than this, then we want to show that A union B is also less than infinity. So that is what we want to show. Now, let us pick two elements inside them, A union B. This is what we are dealing with now. So let us pick, let's say S comma Y belongs to A union B. And you know that if an element belongs to A union B, three things can happen. So this will either mean that S and Y belongs to A. We can have it as sy belongs to B, or we can say that S belongs to A and S belongs to B. So since S and Y is in union A union B, that would simply mean that it's either both of them are inside A, or both of them are inside B, or each of them is inside the two sets. So we are going to consider the three cases. So case 1. So let's consider a case whereby S, Y, they are both in A. So what we do is this. We know that if this and this belongs to A, then the distance between S and Y will be less than or equal to, in fact, it will be less than or equal to the diameter of A. So there's no doubt about that. No, diameter is the total distance there, while this D is just speaking to distance between two elements inside A. So from this place, let's put supremum to both sides. Supremum. This is supremum of let's say S, Y belongs to A union B. So if you put supremum here, sup delta A. So we don't need the supremum of delta A will not affect it. And this thing simply means delta A union B is less than delta A. So the supremum, this is a point already, this is a number because it's diameter. So diameter is a single number, so it doesn't affect anything there. But we have seen that A is bounded, that is A is less than infinity, that is delta A is less than infinity. So this means this will be less than infinity. And finally, by transitive law, A union B will be less than infinity as well, by transitive law. So, and that is our aim. So we have shown it. So case 2 as well. If S, Y belongs to B, so also D of S, Y will be less than diameter of B. So without stressing ourselves, we follow the same pattern. It's just that we replace A to B. So we will see that similarly D of A union B is less than infinity. We'll follow the same pattern. We will only be putting A to A as B here. So that is all. So let's consider the third case in another page. This is our case 3 here. If S belongs to A and also let me say Y belongs to B. Let's pick another element in this. Let's say pick another element. A belongs to A and B belongs to B. So by triangular inequality, we know that distance between S and Y here will be less than or equal to, I can play around it. I can say distance between A plus B, A comma B, S comma A, distance between A comma B plus distance between B comma Y. We are still dealing with S. If there's another thing, I can continue. So far it ended in Y. So the next thing now is let's put supremum to both sides. So let's put, if you put supremum to both sides, this is sup S comma A plus, I don't need to put supremum here because it is independent of S and Y. So let's put supremum of distance of B comma Y. So here our S belongs to A is A union B. S comma Y belongs to A union B. S comma Y belongs to A union B. And by definition, this is simply delta of A union B, because S is in S. S is in A, Y is in B. This is less than or equal to, this is distance of ordinary A now, because S is in capital letter A. So this is D of A comma B plus this supremum will simply be distance of a diameter of B. But we have known that this is less than infinity because A is bounded. plus d of a comma b. This is less than infinity. So infinity plus all this will still be infinity. So we have seen that delta A union B is finite. Hence, A union B is bounded. So, and that completes the proof. So, in our next video, we'll move to another important concept under the theory of functional analysis, which is open set and closed set. Have a nice day.